execution. Or in other words, did I do a troop again? Are you serious? Hi guys, and welcome to my cute corner. My name is Nadej, or D. I'm the CEO at CheerTD, and I'm your host for CheerTD. Our goal here is to help you guys find your confidence. So, are you confidently utilizing training through execution? Or in other words, are you cute? If you're unsure, no worries, we're here to help. I would like to welcome to CheerTD's Cute Corner our very own instructor, Sean, to the couch to be my co-host today.
Hello, how are you?
Wonderful, how are you today?
I'm doing good, glad it's not raining anymore.
It's been raining like cats and dogs.
All day.
Well guys, so today our episode is about finding the real issues behind Flyers' lack of confidence. So, Sean, you're here because you've worked with many athletes in our training programs, outside of that before you were working with a company, and I feel like you're a really good person to have on the episode to talk about this. So what do you think is the real issue behind the lack of confidence that a lot of Flyers face nowadays?
I think a lot of Flyers, now that cheerleading is evolving so much, and we're throwing so many new skills and a lot of new tricks at the Flyers, that they're afraid to try them. So when they're going into it, it's just like anything. You go into it a little timid, and then gradually as you get comfortable with it, you progress at it and progress at it. And I feel like some Flyers, they stay in that timid zone, and they stay in that, I don't quite have it yet, so I'm not going to go full force with it, instead of going full force with it out the gate and then correcting yourself as you are still doing strong.
That's true. Well, I think it's like, as women, we are very much into executing things really well on the first try, and when we don't do that, then the lack of confidence kind of chips away, absolutely. Yeah. So, okay, so then we're saying like our main topics for you that you've just kind of highlighted are that the Flyers don't really believe in themselves, or someone is telling them they're not good enough, right?
Exactly.
So sometimes if a base is flustered with their Flyer, then they'll kind of say something in passing, and then that'll kind of have a lasting impact. Yeah. Or they're trying to be perfect, which is
never going to happen.
Perfection is the enemy of good, they say. And then the Flyers are not trusting their bases, and they don't want to hurt them, right? So then if I try something new, it might not work well. And I want to feel like a lot of the issues that we've gotten, like in terms of feedback, is that they don't want to hurt their bases, so they don't want to try that skill or try too many times, so that they don't feel like they're going to cause pain. And then the last part, like you mentioned, was commitment. I think that's a really big one. Yeah. So why don't we delve a little bit deeper into those so that you can give us a little bit more?
I think as far as the commitment just goes, as if you're actually going to execute the skill at the best you want, just like you said, as women, you guys are perfectionists, and I feel like just because you are getting new skills thrown at you, you just always have to go into it with an open mind and just aggressiveness. A lot of the stunts, they usually don't hit because the Flyers aren't aggressive enough. That includes pushing yourself up to the top, not just relying on your bases to throw you to the top. You actually have to put some effort into it as well. So when everyone is giving that 150%, and as the Flyer, you're giving that 200%, it just makes the stunt flow so much easier, because I feel like as a Flyer, you kind of got to give a little more. You got to give a little more because everyone's seeing you. You're the one that's being thrown. You're the one that's actually executing the skill. So if you're giving a little bit more, then it'll actually be a successful stunt.
I like that. That's really good advice. What we want to do also, and as we're going to be covering this issue in this episode, we'd like to ask for our Flyers that are watching to send us some pictures of their body position and other different aspects of their stunts that they're struggling with, because then me and Sean can be here to help you guys kind of address those needs and issues. And then we want to help you find your specific issue as Flyers. So we see a lot of things in working with a lot of athletes and in our training daily, but oftentimes what maybe our coach thinks is your issue is not necessarily what they feel internally. Exactly. So we want to know if you guys can, by having some self-accountability, tell us what you think your issues are, or help us determine how we can help you find those issues. Okay? So one of the things that we did for this episode, to give you guys a little bit more insight, we went around and interviewed some real athletes that are having real life struggles with confidence or any of the issues that we talked about, commitment with bases, just to kind of see what their real issues are. So we'd like for you guys to go ahead and take a look now at those videos.
And
Can't script this.
okay, so now try to discuss what you think is going to happen in the videos. and then this is after.
Okay, so I feel like we kind of nailed that. Like all the issues that we assume would be like kind of coming in from the flyers and getting the feedback. What do you think is the biggest takeaway from our flyer interviews that was surprising to you, or that you think you feel that should be reinforced across the industry as a whole to help our flyers be more successful?
The aggressiveness in the stunts. A lot of them were saying how when they're doing something they're a little bit nervous and they don't really know. They think they're doing something, but then they don't. When they see it, like say if we're recording it and they see it, they're like, oh, I totally didn't even realize that I was doing that. So a lot of them are in their head about the stunting 100%, and when they're not in their head and they're actually just committing to the skill. And as a coach personally, I like to just focus on the flyer, like as she's going, if I can see her body language, that she's very nervous about it, and that on her face, facial expression and body language can 100%, I can tell exactly how this stunt is going to go. So if, me personally, I just like to zone in on the flyer and say, hey, you know what, you got it, like reinforce the positive reinforcements, and definitely just trying to help them understand, like, you can do it if you are just commit to the skill. And a lot of them, just like they said, they're nervous. They weren't really confidently going into the stunt with 100%. I got this. I got this. So I think definitely reinforcement from even the bases. Yeah, you might get hit a couple of times, but that's definitely a part of cheerleading. So just rolling with the punches and helping your flyer execute, because at the end of the day, that's your flyer.
Agreed. Yeah. I think my biggest takeaway from watching those or interviewing those flyers for me is I always try and tell the flyers, find your inner fierceness. Like, you need to go out there and put like it's going to be the best darn stuff, whatever the skill is. If it's a prep, I want it to be the most amazing prep. So before they go up, I'm like, hey, get in your right mindset and then go out there and execute it well. Because I think that that's a really, really big part. I've flown and I was a base for many years, and I had to do both roles. And being up there is extremely nerve-wracking. It is. And a lot of people do a really great job of like masking that, but most people can't. And so it's like, what do you do when you can't mask it? How do you not show that across your stunt group so that they're not afraid to do whatever that skill is in terms of executing it? So definitely.
Even me just like playing around, I like to consider myself a flyer as well.
You are a flyer, Sean. You do a pretty mean heel stretch double down.
Maybe you guys might get a video of that. But even when I'm just like playing around stunting, and it's like, I have to get in my mind zone of, you know what, Sean, you got this. I trust my bases, they're gonna do it. And then usually when I'm in that mindset, it goes pretty good.
And you know what, you guys, he gets nervous too.
I do, but it's like, I don't want anyone to know it. Yeah. Sean, you're in your head. I'm like, all right, let's do this, let's do it. Because even a couple of weeks ago, I had a group put me up in a prep, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I hope they don't drop.
That's always a good
whatever.
You're a big guy.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna push off, stand up, be the exact same thing I tell the girls.
Yeah.
And I did it, and it actually was pretty good.
Well, and I've seen you do that so many times. Yes. At the camp, we're like, Sean, show them your heel stretch double down. You're like, I'm not ready yet. You're like, all right, okay,
give me a second. Okay, I'm good.
Well, and then you end up hitting.
Yeah, exactly. So the mindset, even if you got to talk to yourself a little bit, talking to yourself definitely helps, so that you yourself can get out of your head and just, we got it.
Yeah, agreed. All right, you guys, you've heard some of our athletes discuss their issues. Now it's your turn. What's your real issue? We would like you all to comment and start a discussion on ways we can help you find your issues and start fixing the problem. And I'd like to thank Sean for being my co-host today. And I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining us and tuning in. And so we'll see you guys next week. And remember, stay cute.